What's up guys, thirstydog here with another deck tech, this time with something I've been waiting to try out ever since they announced Tree of Perdition and Eldritch Moon. If you're not already aware of what Tree of Perdition does, it is a 0/13 defender, but when you tap it, you can swap its toughness with your opponent's health total, so unless the tree is altered in some way, buffed in some way, you're setting your opponent's health total to 13. And the important thing there is that it can combo with Triskaidekaphobia. So that's what this deck's trying to achieve. There's also a few other key pieces here. The main thing you want to do is fend yourself off as long as you can to get the combo out. I decided to put in Aelie the Eternal Pilgrim because one, it's a defender that's 2/3 for 2, which is pretty good. It also has Death Touch. You can also sacrifice other creatures to gain health off it, so if you sacrifice a Tree of Perdition, you're getting 13 health off it. Her second ability you're probably never going to ever use, so it's not really that relevant, but in case you do somehow, so you sack a tree and never really got hit by your opponent, you can also use her to exile things. Reflector Mage, of course, because, well, it's Reflector Mage, you can bounce any of their creatures and help fend off your plan. Of course, Tree of Perdition, which is the focus of the deck. Try to get your health, or your opponent's health to 13, and combo off with Triskaidekaphobia. Now, not only do we have Triskaidekaphobia so that we can have our opponent lose in our upkeep when their health is 13, another interesting win condition, which I think might be even better in most cases, because a lot of times your opponent will have ways to alter their health, especially if they have burn, they can just burn themselves, which is kind of a goofy interaction, but if they have to stay alive that way, they can. But a Soul Separator is also a new card in Eldritch Moon. You cast it for 3, it's artifact, but you can pay 5 and tap it and exile a creature from a graveyard and put a copy of the creature card you exiled as a 1/1 spirit token with all of its abilities, as well as a zombie that is the same power and toughness. So if for whatever reason your trees keep getting killed, which is probably a good chance since your opponent's not going to want that to happen, you have another way to create the same effect out of a 1/1 spirit token, which is really sweet because not only are you able to swap, but you're able to swap their health to 1. So if you have other creatures out, you can kill them that way just as easily. Now, to help support the game plan here, we're obviously going to want a lot of counter spells and removal. And the removal is especially important to choose because a lot of the decks nowadays have a lot of creatures, heavily creature based, and one important card obviously in the sideboard, Languish, which we'll cover later, is probably something you're going to want to bring in all the time, but you don't want to main deck it because you want to counter as much as you can and spot target, kill creatures as much as you can. So we have 2 Dispel, 2 Negate, and 4 Declaration in Stone. All relatively low cost defensive cards. You get to exile any creature with Declaration of Stone, and then, of course, if you are having your creatures targeted, or if you're doing something else crazy against you, you can dispel and negate their game plan. Some more defensive creature destruction, Ruinous Path. It also helps target planeswalkers. You get 4 copies of that. It also has Awaken, but probably I'm never going to use that most of the time. Stasis Snare, so you have a flash enchantment to help take care of more creatures, and Painful Truce, which is important because we want to gas up when we can. Since we're playing Esper, we have 3 colors that we can use to draw 3 cards off of. And then we have another counter spell. I'm not really sure if I'm a fan of this selection. You could probably put better spells in here. In fact, I might even consider putting Unsubstantiate, is because it's only 1 in a blue. You could also bounce creatures with it. Granted, if you're kind of back against the wall situations where they're just going to cast it again, it's not that helpful, so this is more powerful in those situations, but I don't know. This is one of those slots, like I said, that probably could use some tweaking. And then to our lands, we have a Shambling Vent, of course, because we have a creature land that helps us modify our life total as well as defend ourselves if we need to. A Prairie Stream. We have 4 Shambling Vents, 2 Prairie Streams, and 2 Sunken Hollow to help for fixing. 4 Evolving Wilds, because we want to be able to pick out the few amount of basic lands that we have, as well as filter the deck a little bit. 3 plains, 3 islands, and 5 swamps. Now for the sideboard, we have some more support for counter spells against spell heavy decks. You're going to want to put all these in, and some more removal with Grasp of Darkness. So we have 2 dispels, 1 negate, and 3 Grasp of Darkness. And of course, Languish, like I said earlier, this is going to help sweep the board for wide approaches from your opponent. Of course, if you're trying to play this competitively, which probably won't fare so well because it does take time to get everything set up, and you're hoping to draw what you need, which Painful Truths helps get you there, but that's really the only card draw that we got in the deck. This helps you clear the board when you really need to. And then you have some other creatures that you can pull into the deck if you really want to add more creatures. If there's just a large number of creatures that you feel like you want to deal with more and play more creature heavy, you can do so with 2 copies of Thalia and 1 copy of Gisela. I just wanted to use Gisela because she's sweet. She does kind of die to burn quite easily, but it also helps you gain your life back up if you need to, because of course with this deck, with Trisodecaphobia in it, your life total is very important to keep track of. And then we have 2 copies of Macabre Waltz, simply to help counteract if your opponent has a lot of creature removal. You definitely are probably going to run out of the ability to put out a tree or whatever piece you might need, so Macabre Waltz can be pulled in to help revive some of your creatures out of your graveyard. Well, there you have it, guys. This is my Tree of Perdition deck. I've played it a few times so far. I would say 4 matches. It can hold its own even against fast decks, but I think the most trouble I've had are decks that are heavily spell based. I actually just recently finished up a match with a opponent that was playing a mill deck, and it actually went off quite nicely against me. Even when I pulled in all my counter spells, it's hard to face. There's so much removal in the deck already. But I don't know. Let me guys know what you think about the deck. Hope you guys enjoyed the deck tech video, and until next one, guys, I will catch you later.